Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you another Mantle of Battle Harmony build. This time incorporating Warmind Cells with the old Warmind Cell DPS strat. And then I'm also going to be talking about some weapons and some alternatives that you can use with this build to make it really strong. Basically the goal is to use the Warmind Cells to increase damage, which will get into soon, and then you also have Mantle of Battle Harmony to enhance your weapons for ad clear and also for DPS, since Mantle of Battle Harmony's damage buff, Absorption Cells, will stack with the Warmind Cells damage buff. And yeah, that with Deathbringer is pretty nuts. So yeah, I'm just going to get into the mods first because that's the easiest part. So first off, the main thing that you want is Warmind's longevity, because Warmind Cells lasting longer is a massive part of this build. If you don't have this mod, it's going to be very difficult to make use of this build effectively. So you will need this. This is probably the only mod that you can actually do without, technically. It'll make the build really difficult to use, but at least the build will still work without this. Next we have Warmind's Decree. This is optional, however it is extremely valuable with the weapons that we want to be using, since these are void. They do splash damage. With obviously Mantle of Battle Harmony, you want to have the same element as the weapons that you're using for your subclass. So since we're using void here too, my grenade, my melee and my super, if I ever want to use it, will all make Warmind Cells with this mod. So you want this. It does come from the last section of the artifact, and yeah, you want this. 100% you want this. Yeah. Next we have Wrath of Rasputin. You're probably thinking, oh, why do we need this when we have Warmind's Decree? Now the reason why we have this is because Fatebringer's Firefly does solo damage. So if I chain kill people with Firefly, it will spawn a Warmind Cell, which is great, because that's just more Warmind Cells. Even though it probably isn't necessary, I could technically put Global Reach there, but we're not using Warmind Cells to actually destroy the cells, so Global Reach is kind of useless. Next we have Power Rasputin, which is you gain a bonus damage when enemies are near a Warmind Cell, which is super good for boss DPS. With the next mod that we have, Grasp of the Warmind, which is where we can pick up Warmind Cells and throw them at things. So technically what you would do is you would spawn a Warmind Cell with any of your weapons or your abilities, and then you would throw it at a boss or a really tanky enemy, and then you would go to town on them. Now, with the strat, with Mantle of Battle Harmony here, with the strat where you can basically fire a projectile, so this is why Truthteller is a perfect weapon for this. You could fire a projectile, kill an enemy, and then quickly switch to another weapon, and you would gain Absorption Cells for the other weapon rather than the weapon that you actually killed the enemy with. This is perfect with Deathbringer, because Deathbringer, you know, you can technically fire at a boss and kill an enemy at the same time, but it's unreliable and it's kind of a waste of DPS to fire it into a crowd before doing DPS to get Absorption Cells. So it's better just to fire your grenade launcher, get a kill, quickly switch, get Deathbringer's Deathbringer buffed with Absorption Cells, and then have the Warmind strat going at the same time, and boom, you've got fat DPS. You're basically out damaging a well. You're doing like bubble weapons of light tier damage without actually using weapons of light or a well, which is great because this is perfect for solo play. It's perfect for activities, you know, where you might want to just be using something else. Obviously you can use a well. There is an alternative to this where you could use a solo subclass and then use Empty Vessel and still proc Absorption Cells for Deathbringer. You just kill something with this instead and then quickly switch to Deathbringer, and it'll still work. You'll still get Absorption Cells for Deathbringer despite not being on a void subclass. So you can do that as well if you want to use well. Personally, I like using Voidwalker because it's great for ad clear and it's awesome for, you know, actually chaining these together easier. But you could do whatever you want. It's also great for Warmind's Decree, which I mentioned earlier. But then again, using Solar, you can also spawn it with Rasputin. So, I don't know. It's completely optional there. But yeah, it's a great build. Getting into the Fatebringer again, I do have Osmosis, which means I benefit from Absorption Cells regularly with my Fatebringer, because I can just throw a grenade, it turns void, and then every kill will proc Absorption Cells. So I basically have Firefly, Outlaw, and a damage perk on my Fatebringer because of this, which is just phenomenal. It makes Fatebringer even better than it already is. So that's great. So yeah, this is the build. You can just copy all this stuff. Ignore my stats. My stats are kind of all over the place. Unfortunately, I've had to throw a few random things in here. I also don't have a good Mantle about Harmony for this build. So yeah, my stats are kind of struggling. And since I can't use Powerful Friends or Radiant Light anymore because of all the Void mods, my strength and my Mobi are struggling. But yeah, that's the build. I'll show some gameplay of me just schmelting bosses and ad clearing very easily with this. Let me know what you think of it. It's pretty similar to most of the Mantle Battle Harmony videos I've done, or builds I've done. But this time it's just focused on Warmind Cells rather than specific weapon-based strats. So yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of the gameplay, and adios.